Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to start off by giving all the glory, infinite praise, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect that is out there pushing this truth in all sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, giving diligence to make your call in the relation sure. Shalom. This is your brother Hashah from the Great Millstone Savannah Camp. Come back in the spirit with another lesson. Lord willing, I pray and hope that it is edifying and exhorting. All right, and this is a article from Futurism, right, entitled "Elon Musk compares his work to miracles performed by Yahushua." All right, which we're gonna, get into this lesson how it is quite the opposite. All right, and they have the quote underneath that says, they are sort of what I might call Jesus level technologies. All right. And this man is a complete Satanist. He's been seen in Satanist costumes, and, he's very open about the fact that he doesn't believe in the Heavenly Father. And he's just a big kid with billions of dollars. All right. So, we know this through the scripture, man. All right, his great grandfather was a apartheidist. He was also a technocrat, right? So whoop-de-doo. All right, here it is. He's a son of an elite. Okay, so you know what do you expect? But nevertheless, all right, we're gonna get into some beautiful things, all right, which I asked ChatGPT. Now I asked ChatGPT. It says, do the elites have an agenda to transcend? Give examples. All right, which I spelled that wrong, but anyway, chat gets it. It says, if by transcend you mean an agenda among powerful elites to go beyond normal human limits through technology, biology, AI, space colonization, digital consciousness, or social engineering, there are real movements and stated goals, but there are also speculative and conspiratorial claims that go beyond evidence. So, Chad always got to cover CYA. It says here are some real world examples that people point to. All right, which we at Great Millstone, we're the ones that point to it. Okay, it says transhumanism. There are thinkers and companies openly interested in expanding human abilities and lifespans through technology. This is what Elon Musk, all right, has in mind. It says the World's Transhumanist Association promotes ideas like life expansion, AI integration, and human enhancement. All right, these people are Edomites getting chipped up. Okay, it says Elon Musk has publicly discussed brain-computer interfaces through NeuroLink. It says Ray Kurzweil argues humans may merge with AI and radically extend life, to transcend. So I wanted to get Baba Kushar, right? So we went into miracles, Revelation 13 and 14. It says, and deceiveth them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start up. Okay. Get that context. Revelation 13 and 11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon. All right, going into the two-party system, the Democrat, the Republican, right, which is ancient, okay, because the plebeians and the patricians, all right, they were playing that same role, the two horns, okay, in Rome. It says, and spake as a dragon. When you go into that word dragon, it goes into draconian, which, is an ancient lawmaker, okay, who, they would basically prosecute you to death for minor crimes. This is what happens, in all Edomite society. So he's going to come down like a dragon. He's a man of blood, okay? It says, and, because people see this, these chips or whatever, and they think, oh, here comes Mr. Science. They're going to try to save the world. No, they're men of blood, they're hunters. It says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, right? Going into the Roman Empire, the first beast, which is the fourth beast, right? When you go into Daniel, okay, it says, in whose deadly wound was healed. See, the deadly wound of the Roman Empire was healed, all right, through the Renaissance period, the rebirth of Edomite supremacy, all right, by way of Britain, France, Belgium, who else? Britain, France, the English, the British, okay, and the rest of the EU, NATO, all right, which is the horn, the little horn that came out of, the colon, basically the European colonization. And here's the point. In verse 13, it says, and he does great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. Verse 14, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, right? Which we just seen, right? That Elon said he can do miracles, okay? He has his ability to transcend. So when you get this word miracle, right, which is different, it's beautiful because it goes into what? Semayon, right?
Strong's G, 4592, Semayon.
Simeon, right? It says a sign, a mark, a token, that which a person or a thing is distinguished from others and is known, right? It says a sign, a portent, a prodigy, an unusual occurrence transcending the common course of nature. All right, so this is the miracles that he had, right? Is that he can transcend, right, the common courses of nature. All right, to live long, right, to have governance over the soul, over the mind. Okay, this is what the elites want to do. Okay, going back to this chat GBT, it says longevity defeating aging, right? So they want to live longer. They want to defeat aging. They're going to come out with these godlike powers, right? Okay, when you go into it, they want to transcend, right? It says of miracles and wonders by which God authenticates the men sent by him, or by men, or which men prove that the cause they're pleading in is God's. Okay, so this is what's about to happen. We're gonna see whose cause, all right, these people are pleading. All right, whether they're pleading for Satan, the devil, Esau, Edom, right, or whether they're pleading for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, and it's gonna come by way of a sign, a mark. It says of signs pertaining, pretending remarkable events soon to happen, right? And yeah, man, this thing is coming down the pipe. All right. Now I wanted to just go back to just the word, right? Because when you look at the word used to lock you, my spelling. All right. I believe this one is different. All right. Salakia. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12. I'm gonna start at verse 7. It says, "But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles." Right? Now when you go into this word miracle, right, it's a whole different vibration, dynamics, right? Or dominus, right? It says what? Strength, power, an inherent power, power residing in a thing by virtue of its nature. So we're going to tap into the virtue of our nature, all right? He's tapping into trying to transcend nature, right? Having a God complex, want to put, a CHIP in people's heads, right? Hey, we're coming by the virtue of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? It says, which a person or thing exerts or puts forth, right? The power performing miracles, moral power, excellence of soul, the power and influence which belongs to riches and wealth. It says power and resources arising from numbers, power consisting in or resting upon armies, forces, or hosts. You see? So these are the type of miracles that we're going to have, man. We're going to change the dynamics of this thing, right? When you go into that word, dominus, right? Dominism, right, is a noun. It says dynamic energy, a force or a drive, power, might, and strength, right? When you go into the word dynamics, it says pertaining to mechanical forces not in equilibrium, pertaining to a force producing motion, right? Meaning a moving, right? Powerful. It says to be strong enough, to have power. It says active, potent, effective, energetic. Okay? So the Lord is going to do miracles on the right-hand side, man. The Lord is going to get active out here. He's going to show his power through the men of the Lord, through the elect. Not through any, computer, computer and technology, AI, social engineering. We don't have to do that, okay? The Lord is just going to give us that power, all right? And the scripture says what? Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, right? In the day of thy dynamic. The Lord is going to change the dynamics of this thing, man. All right. We had back in college, we learned about it was a class called fluid dynamics, and it was all about hydraulics, right? And how you can move things using water, okay? Or you can move things using liquids, different liquids, right? I'll read through the titles of these. It says space colonization, survival beyond Earth, right? They always launching those missiles, right? SpaceX. It says AI and digital consciousness, more speculative, right? A few technologists discuss ideas like uploading consciousness. This is what Esau wants. Go look at there's a episode on Black Mirror. It's called San Junipero, right? And it's about uploading your consciousness after you die, so you can live in a fantasy world. It says merging human with AI, right? Uploading things to your brain. This is what Satan. Okay, this is what the MOTB is coming to do, right? You're either gonna pledge allegiance to this, or you're gonna pledge allegiance to Yahweh Shem Shai. It says creating super intelligence, right? Important distinction, evidence, and interpretation. There is good evidence that some wealthy and influential people want to, right? This is a cop out, all right? It says there is much weaker evidence for claims of a coordinated secret global elite plan to become gods or permanently rule humanity through hidden names. Well, and they really just telling on themselves. It's all right. Esau is hurt, but you can tell even this is gonna turn on him. Even the AI intelligence, they know who's who, right? Even a computer, who can compute things and make decisions, which they're trying to make it to do, can rationalize in his mind who would be better off here and who wouldn't. All right, so it says there is much weaker evidence for claims of a coordinated secret global elite plan to become gods or permanently rule humanity through hidden means. Often different powerful groups have competing interests rather than one unified agenda, which is true. Okay, it says from a biblical perspective, some people connect this idea to themes like humanity trying to exalt itself, the Tower of Babel, right? Seeking immortality apart from God, end time systems of power. All right. And Great Millstone, the elders of Great Millstone were the first ones to draw this parallel, man. Okay. Before there was a Chat GBT. Okay. Chat GBT is just confirming years of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Of mysteries that are given unto the elect. Okay. And we know that these things are subjective, some of them, all right, but some of them are fact, all right, and it's up to, the listener, all right, to pick out what's fact and what's fiction. So I'm gonna get one more verse, and I'm gonna, take it on, lay it on down, man, all right. This is Revelation 13 and 14, finishing off. It says, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those semenos, right? All right, the marks, all right, the sign, the signals, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. All right, so everyone is going to see it. Everyone is going to see this thing come out. It says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. You see? And what's that beast? The American and the EU system. All right, this banking system, the banking elites, the image, all right, the culture, right? It says, which is going to be set up under the MOTB. We're just reading about it. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? Right. And now, like brothers been going into, the idols now can walk, right? They can say certain things, it's not like the time of old. So Esau is transcending, always in control, man. Okay. Let's see what happened. Salakia. It says, verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image should be killed, right? And Russo, all right? We know what he said. We know what you elites plan on doing, man. All right, so that if you didn't get this, you could be cut off, man. They could cut off your chip, and you die. All right, you would literally not be able to access clean water. All right, food, certain medicines. All right, this is what Esau Edom wants, right? And look at what he's doing now, right? With these, repealing all these voting, and he don't want you niggas to have rights. So you're consenting to be, caught in a snare, right? This man is out of time. It says, verse 16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, right? They got even a brain thing that, a C-hip, right? Where an inmate can do his time, right? It simulates doing the whole thing in your head in a matter of minutes, So these are the miracles, all right? This is him transcending. You could live, now you can experience and live, an experience of reality through a chip, right? Through a microchip. And he can change your perspective. He can change, where you are, what it feels like, and your mind, you see? But we know that this is only for a moment, right? It says both free and bond to receive a mark, a charagma, a charax, in their right hand or in their forehead, that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the number of the beast, right? Or the Salakia, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, right? And when you go into the kingdom, King Solomon's, what is that? Basically the wisdom of Solomon, right? He goes into wisdom, man, how it's all powerful, man. It's a very powerful thing. So the Lord has given us wisdom in these days to count the number of the beast, man, to know these things, to break these things down. All right, to warn you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666, right? The chi-size stigma, right? The chi-size stigma, all right? And if you don't know by now, man, you got some catching up to do, okay? But, man, the MOTB is around the corner, all right? And we're, one step closer into, getting out of here, man. And having peace and righteousness set back on earth, man. Okay? So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying, exhorting. I want to end off by giving all the glory, infinite praise and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect. Shalom.